Think about the last time you felt genuinely, completely content. Not excited, not distracted, not scrolling past something funny, actually content. For most people, that moment is surprisingly hard to find. Now think about a man sitting by a fire 30,000 years ago. No job, no mortgage, no social media, no inbox with 847 unread emails. He has a full stomach tonight, a fire that's holding, and people around him that he has known every single day of his life. And here's the strange part. According to the science, he was probably happier than you are right now. That's not a feel-good guess. That's what the data keeps pointing to. And when you understand why, it changes the way you look at almost everything. Let's start with something most people get completely wrong about ancient life. They hear hunter-gatherer and they picture misery, cold, starving, one bad day away from being eaten. That version of history is everywhere. It's in movies, it's in history textbooks. It's in that phrase you've heard 100 times. Life was nasty, brutish, and short. Thomas Hobbes wrote that in 1651. He had never met a hunter-gatherer. He was sitting in a study in England, imagining what their lives were like. And for 400 years, we kind of just went with it. But anthropologists who actually went and lived with modern hunter-gatherer groups, people like the Kungsan of the Kalahari, the Hadza of Tanzania, the Aboriginal communities of Australia, came back with reports that completely shattered that picture. The Kungsan, studied in detail by anthropologist Richard Lee in the 1960s, worked an average of 15 to 20 hours per week to meet all of their needs. 15 to 20 hours. That's a part-time job with no commute. The rest of their time was spent resting, talking, playing with their kids, and making music. The average American works 47 hours a week and still reports not having enough time. So the first thing ancient life gave people that we don't have is time. Just time. To exist in, to do nothing in. That sounds simple until you realize we've almost completely engineered it out of modern life. But it's not just the hours, it's what those hours felt like. Here's something most people don't know about the human brain. It was not built for the kind of thinking we do every day now. Your brain evolved to solve a very specific set of problems. Find food, build shelter, stay warm, protect your group, navigate social relationships with about 150 people you see every single day. That's it. That's what 2 million years of evolution optimized for. And then, in roughly 200 years, we ripped all of that out and replaced it with open plan offices, global news cycles, 1,000 choices for breakfast cereal, and a device in your pocket that reminds you at all times how many people don't like you. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called it the paradox of choice. He found that the more options people have, the less satisfied they are with whatever they pick. When you can choose from 3 options, you pick one and you're happy. When you can choose from 30, you pick one and you spend the next week wondering if one of the other 29 would have been better. Ancient humans had no paradox of choice. You ate what the land gave you today. You wore what you made. You lived where your group lived. And because those decisions were essentially made for you by circumstances, your brain was free to just be present. That's not a limitation. That turns out to be a gift. Now, here's where it gets really strange. Modern humans are richer, safer, and more comfortable than at any point in history. We have medicine that would have looked like magic to anyone living 200 years ago. We have food on demand, heating, cooling, the sum of all human knowledge in a rectangle we carry in our pocket. And by almost every measure of well-being that researchers track, we are not happier. Depression rates have been rising for decades. Anxiety disorders are now the most common mental illness in the developed world. Loneliness has been declared a public health epidemic. Not just in one country, but globally. The United States, one of the wealthiest nations in the history of civilization, ranks around 23rd in the World Happiness Index. Think about that. We built the thing that was supposed to make us happy. We built it completely, and then we sat down inside it and felt nothing. Why? Part of the answer comes from a Harvard study that ran for 85 years. It started in 1938 and tracked hundreds of people across their entire lives, measuring everything: income, career, health, relationships. They wanted to know what actually predicts a happy life. The answer, after 85 years and thousands of data points, was not money, not status, not achievement. It was the quality of your relationships. People with close, warm, trusting relationships lived longer, reported more happiness, and had sharper memories into old age. People who were isolated, even if they were wealthy and successful, deteriorated faster, got sick earlier, died sooner. The study's director, Dr. Robert Waldinger, said it plainly: loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism. And here's the thing. Ancient humans, by the structure of their entire lives, were never alone. They were born into a group of 50 to 150 people. They slept near those people. They hunted with those people. They ate every meal with those people. They sat around the fire with those people every single night until they died. There was no such thing as eating lunch alone at your desk. There was no going home to an apartment by yourself and scrolling through other people's lives on a screen. Connection wasn't something you had to schedule into a calendar. It was the entire shape of every day. But wait, stop here. Because this is the part of the story where most people push back. Sure, they had community, but they were terrified all the time. They didn't know what lightning was. They had no germ theory. Half their children died before age 5. How happy could they really have been? And that's a fair question. Grief was real. Fear was real. Physical pain was constant in ways we've largely eliminated. But here's what the research on happiness actually shows about hardship. It's called post-traumatic growth, and it's one of the most counterintuitive findings in all of psychology. Psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun found that a significant percentage of people who go through genuine trauma, loss, grief, serious illness, come out the other side reporting that their lives felt more meaningful afterward, not in spite of the difficulty, because of it. Struggle, when it's shared with people you love in pursuit of something real, produces a specific kind of satisfaction that comfort simply cannot replicate. Your brain has a word for that feeling. It's called meaning, and meaning is not the same thing as happiness, but it turns out it might be more important. Here's a study that will stick with you. In 2010, Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman and economist Angus Deaton published research showing that emotional well-being, how good a person actually feels day to day, stops rising after an income of about $75,000 a year. After that point, more money doesn't make daily life feel better. But the pursuit of more money keeps people working 60-hour weeks for decades beyond that threshold, convinced the next raise will do it. Your ancient ancestor never fell into that trap, because there was no trap to fall into. He killed a deer today. He fed his family. His body released a flood of dopamine, of oxytocin, of serotonin. The reward was immediate, concrete, undeniable. He didn't lie awake wondering if he should have hunted in a different valley. He didn't compare his kill to someone else's kill on a platform built to make him feel inadequate. He ate. He was warm, the people he loved were around him, and his nervous system, after 2 million years of being shaped exactly for this, said, yes, this is enough. We lost that, not slowly, overnight in evolutionary terms. And there's one more thing. This one's the strangest of all. Your brain has a default mode network. It's the system that activates when you're not doing anything specific, when you're just wandering in thought, staring at the fire, lying in the grass, watching clouds. Neuroscientists studying this network have found that it plays a critical role in emotional processing, creativity, self-understanding, and something researchers call narrative identity, your sense of who you are and where your life is going. For ancient humans, the default mode network got activated constantly, every night around the fire, every quiet morning before the hunt, every hour of walking through landscape with nothing demanding your attention. Modern humans almost never activate it, because we filled every single gap. Every spare second is now occupied. The 30-second wait for an elevator, the 2-minute walk to the car, the moment between putting your head on the pillow and closing your eyes. We've paved over every quiet moment with content, and in doing so, we cut off the part of our brain that was supposed to process what it all means. Psychologist Matthew Killingsworth ran a study tracking people in real time, sending them random alerts throughout the day, asking how they felt and what they were doing. The finding was stark. People were least happy when their mind was wandering to pleasant things. But they were happiest when they were fully present in whatever they were doing, even if what they were doing was ordinary. Your ancient ancestor was present by default, because there was nothing else to be.
So, does this mean we should all move into caves and hunt deer for dinner? No. Obviously not. Modern medicine alone is worth everything. Childbirth that used to kill 1 in 10 women now kills almost none. Infections that wiped out entire villages get handled by a pill you take for a week. We are not going back, and we shouldn't. But understanding why ancient life produced a certain kind of contentment tells you exactly what's missing in yours. The Harvard study says it's relationships. The neuroscience says it's presence. The happiness research says it's meaning over comfort. The Kahneman data says it's immediate, tangible reward over the endless chase. Everything ancient humans had by accident, we now have to rebuild deliberately. You have to choose to put the phone down at dinner. You have to schedule the conversation that used to just happen around the fire. You have to protect the quiet that used to be unavoidable. None of that is natural anymore. All of it is essential. Your ancient ancestor didn't know he was happy. He didn't have a word for it. He wasn't comparing his life to a highlight reel. He was just alive, inside a life that fit the brain he had, with the people he loved, doing something that mattered. And somewhere inside you, that program is still running, still looking for the fire, still looking for the people, still waiting for a moment where your brain can finally say, yes, this is enough. You don't have to find a cave. You just have to stop filling every second with noise long enough to hear what it's been trying to tell you.